This section we're going to talk about how to find the links, missing links, using Pythagorean theorems. Pythagorean theorem is when we have a right triangle, so always have to be right triangle, and with two sides and hypotenuse. Hypotenuse means that it's the longest link out of all three. So Pythagorean theorem is when you're squaring both sides and add them up, it will be same as the square of the hypotenuse. So using that, let's look at the example 1. Example 1 is asking you to find the C, missing value. You have A is 5, B is 12. So two leg is 5 and 12 given. The longest length is missing. So we can use the formulas. So will be the C that we're missing, C squared, should be equals to A squared plus B squared. So then 5 squared is 25, 12 squared is 144. When you add them up, that will be equals to C squared, which is 169. In order to get rid of square, so we can solve for C, we're going to square root both sides. So when we're square root both sides, square will cancel out. And we need to put plus minus sign on the other side of equation. So we end up getting square root of 169, which is 13. Because we're looking at the shape. So it had to be actual links. So we can get rid of the negative. Your C is going to be positive 13. And unit on this one is inches. The second one, this time the hypotenuse is given, right? C is given, B is given, we need to look for A. So when we replace it in the Pythagorean theorem, we have 7 squared equals to A squared plus B, which is 6 squared. And that gives you 7 squared minus 6 squared equals to A squared. We're trying to isolate A, so we subtract both sides by 6 squared to put the number together. So then you get 49 minus 36. That's A squared, which is 13. And when you square root both sides, you get plus minus square root of 13. So your A is square root of 13. And if you wanted to find the decimal, plug into the calculator, you can see it's going to be close to 3.606. With that information, if we wanted to find the parameter, that's going to be 3.606 plus 7 plus 6, because you're adding all the links. You get 16.606 centimeter, single unit, because you just add them up. Your area now is going to be 1/2 times 6 times 3.606, which is going to be 10.818 square centimeter. So the next problem, this is little short word problem. It's the owner of the house want to convert a stairway lead from the ground to their back porch into a lamp. The porch is 3 feet off from the ground, and due to the building regulations, the lamp must start 12 feet away from the base of the porch. How long will the lamp be, right? So I'm going to picture this and see. So you have a porch and ground, right? And this is 3 feet high. And you have a stair. But then the new lamp you wanted to build will look like this. And we know that the distance have to be 12 feet. And they want to know what the lengths have to be. So again, this is the right triangle. So that shows, right? This is going to be right triangle. And you're looking for hypotenuse. So hypotenuse square will be equals to 3 square plus 12 square. Give you 9 and 144. When you add them, it gives you 153. When you square root both sides, you get plus minus square root of 153. And if we just keep the positive, because have to be actually be able to measure it, it will be square root of 153. And this is close to 12.4 feet. And since it's a round to the tens, when you plug in that into the calculator, it will give you something close to 12.369. When you round it to the tens place, you're going to looking at this number. If that number is higher than or equals to 5, this tens place will be added 1, right? So it will become 12.4. So the next example, if we look at the same thing, it gives you, they're looking at the right triangle shape, right? And the longest length is going to be 17, and then bottom is 8. So if I wanted to picture that, I could have something look like this. Bottom is 8 yard. The longest length will be 17 yard. And they're asking to find the height, right? So this time, you have 17 square equals to 8 square plus x square. And then 17 square minus 8 square will become x square. So 17 square become 289, 8 square becomes 64. When you subtract that, you get 225. And when you square root that, you get x equal 15. So the height is going to be 15 yard. Now we're going to look at the circle. Circle, same thing. We're going to remember the formulas. We have finding a circumference. Circumference is the perimeter of the circle, right? The length of going around. And you have area formulas. So circumference, either if it's give you the diameter is from the one on one end of the circles to the other end, right? So if this is given, you're going to do pi times d. Or if it's a radius is given, radius is the center to the circle things, right? Then you're going to do 2 times pi r. So it depends on what's given. You're going to use one of the formulas. Area is going to be pi times r squared. So if it's the diameter is given, you need to find the radius first. So we will do a few examples related to that. Let's say find, you need to find the diameter when the radius is given. So what you're going to do, oops, let me write it, is just multiply by 2 because you have to have 2 of radius to make a diameter, right? So it'll be 2 times 7, which is going to be 14 inches. So it means if we have a diameter given, in order to find the radius, you're going to do divide by 2, right? So this one, radius is going to be 36 divided by 2, which is going to be 18 feet. So here, they want you to find the circumference. So remember the formula, right? So it will be that when diameter is given, it will be pi times d. So it will be 3.14 is the pi values times the diameter. You end up getting 28.26 inches. What about finding area? Area, you're going to use the radius. So it will be r squared, and this one radius is given, so it will be 3.14, which is the pi value. Your r is 3 squared, and when you multiply 3.14 times 9, you get 28.26, and don't forget your unit is going to be square on area. And that's how you're going to find the circumference, which is the perimeter of the circle, and the area of the circle.